Greetings, dear listeners. Today will be a somewhat unusual broadcast. How long will I tell you about the finds in that cave near the magical trail in the reserve? Yes, that's right. I went down there. It was an incredible adventure, but everything is in order. Well, the journey began on Saturday when the darkness began to lose to the rays of the sun. I set out on this exciting adventure. From the very beginning, there were very alarming signs about this idea, as there are so many animals in our reserve. But it wasn't that they were there that scared me, and their absence got no sound, only the wind and the rustling of leaves, sometimes the creaking of trees, adds a certain mystical atmosphere, and the fog that settled on the ground like cigarette smoke. After an hour of wandering around the approximate location, I found the entrance. There was a small lake near it. The water was crystal clear, but the bottom was not visible. But that's not the most important thing. As soon as I got into the cave, I felt some strange vibrations and some kind of feeling of anxiety. But it seemed to me that this was an experience and nothing more. After all, it was probably a lair of a beast where the remains of animals and people were found. An interesting moment was that cool air was blowing from there, which meant that there were still entrances or exits somewhere. Armed with a flashlight and my hunting rifle, I entered the unknown. The first thing I came across was a bonfire and those strange drawings. On them there was a creature with tentacles. They looked very much like a creature. After 5 minutes of moving deeper into the cave, it began to narrow, but there were no traces of the bear, nor that he had slept or eaten here. Well, long and narrow corridors began. After 20 minutes I came across the first fork and chose the right path. The feeling was that the cave was going down lower and lower. After passing the narrow corridor, I saw a fairly spacious platform, but it was noticeably colder there. I walked further and was knocked out of my thoughts by the sound of water that I had not heard before, and the feeling that someone was looking at me. I walked a little further, and in front of me was a descent below with ropes, so someone was already there. They did not look like they had been left decades ago, so I went down to the bottom and found myself knee-deep in water. But the strangest thing about it all was that I noticed a tiny light. The uneasy feeling that someone was watching intensified, and I heard an almost perceptible choir singing. Somewhere far away near that faint, dim light, a figure flashed by, which scared me a lot. However, I had no intention of stopping. I really wanted to find out who it was or what. I walked, it felt like no more than 30 minutes from the start of the descent to that light, but the clock said something else. I walked without stopping for almost 2 hours, but didn't even get close to the light. However, looking back, the wall with the rope was not visible. The darkness absorbed everything, enveloped and pressed. Probably this is one of those moments when you feel the full weight of what you can't see. The flashlight began to flicker. It meant that the first batteries were almost dead. I started changing them and noticed that the weak light, my goal, went out. It meant that I was left alone. I fell silent because the one who lit it and extinguished it must have seen my flashlight. Time seemed to have stopped. And then I heard dozens of steps from different directions. My actions were quick and decisive. The gun was drawn. I was ready, or so I thought, to meet this. When the screams approached the steps, a shot rang out. It echoed. If there was anyone there, it should have scared him. The noise in my ears filled and displaced all sounds. This singing, almost inaudible hum somewhere far away stood out strongly from the sounds that had come before. At some point I felt likeness and began to look around. The weak light of the flame did not give a clear picture of this huge stone hall, but I was able to make out not very clear but features on the walls that were. Nearby, there were carvings, as if water had been carving patterns on these walls for decades, but there were no straight lines, perhaps even plots that illuminated the events of past years, or even centuries. After a small pass, it was decided to examine what the darkness hid. A couple of minutes of searching for something to give me an idea of which direction I was moving was successful. I found a passage below, but something made me wait and wonder if I am ready to go there. There was some very strange smell coming from there, as if something musty and long abandoned, but it didn't scare me. Going even deeper into this abyss, I felt that it was getting warmer there, a small light that dispelled the darkness. It seemed to come from everywhere, but too weak. Some strange fog enveloped that cave. It was the same smell that I heard before going down here. On the walls I saw mushrooms. Yes, mushrooms. They emitted light, weak but enough to see the way ahead. But what scared me were the bodies of animals I had never seen before. They were like mummies. One with this cave, I could swear I saw movement in every chest. They were neither dead nor alive. They were one with this system. I went further and saw previously unseen landscapes in front of me. This fog may be the spores of these mushrooms, I am not sure. A spacious plaza with its own system opened up before me. There was quite enough light. It fell from the roof of the cave, so there was an exit. I stood on a large slope, steps carved from solid stone led down, which had long ago been overgrown with moss and vines. Below there was grass, small coniferous trees, ferns and animals that the world had never seen before. A spacious plaza with its own system opened up before me. There was quite enough light. It fell from the roof of the cave, so there was an exit. I stood on a large slope, steps carved from solid stone led down, which had long ago been overgrown with moss and vines. Below there was grass, small coniferous trees, ferns and animals that the world had never seen before. The dust of fog did not allow me to see everything, but as soon as my eyes adjusted to this bewitching light, a huge castle appeared in front of me, carved into the rock of that cave. It seemed so far away, but its immense size betrayed its majesty. But the fact that it was not excited by people, I will return more prepared, but not alone in case of danger from local animals and what could live there. On my way back, I got lost. It seems I turned the wrong way. There were caves of human bones or something very similar to them. There lived the wilder followers of that cult. They ate their own kind and what they could catch. It seems their deity once clouded the thoughts and feelings of the Lutz. All that remained of them that gave them away as people was a shell. They looked more like beasts. Wild, fast, sharp. No speech, only screams, and a distantly similar human laughter. I managed to shoot a few creatures, after which I found a rope that was just hanging in the middle of the so-called room. Climbing it, I felt fresh air. There it was. I got out quite far from where I started, about 40 kilometers away in a valley between two mountain ranges. That part of the reserve was little explored. But after 6 hours I reached the highway that ran near our city. I spent no more than a day in this area, it seemed to me. But time told me otherwise. I was gone for 4 days. Little changed in the city. A festival was held. One more person disappeared. Maybe I will be able to find her in that cave, or what is left of her.